Hello, hello. My apologies. I know I was supposed to come out with the Scream 3. I was supposed to come out with that yesterday. Just got sidetracked. A lot of stuff, just a lot of stuff happened. But let's get into it because we are doing a movie review on Scream 3 in celebration for Scream 7 that's supposed to be coming out later on this month. Um, so let's go ahead and get into it. So first, we're going to start off with the characters, the main characters. We have, of course, Sidney Prescott, Dewey Riley, Gail Weathers, Detective Mark Kincaid, Roman Bridger, Martha Meeks, Cotton Weary, Stephen Stone, Angelina Tyler, Tyson Fox, Randy Meeks, but he's really just through camera video, Wallace, who is Detective Mark Kincaid's partner, so Detective Wallace, and Jennifer Jolie, who is playing in the Stab franchise that's going along with the movie with that's going along with pretty much basing off the Woodsboro massacre. Um, there's a stab movie that's going on about that, and it's continued to go on as well. Jennifer Jolie is playing Gail Weathers in the Stab movie. I just thought she played of some significance, and she was also kind of funny in the movie. Excuse me. And she was also kind of funny in the movie, so I thought I'd like to add her. Key points. Key points. I thought it was I thought it was very like purposeful that they killed Cotton in the beginning. Cotton at a time is he's starting to get play in movies, he's getting interviews, he's getting a lot of attention, and he gets a call from somebody. He gets a call from somebody. I think like while he was on his way home, I think, and pretty much the dude is the killer is threatening his wife. He heads home. He's in a rush, and honestly, it just doesn't go as it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. So first key point is Cotton's death. That is very some very. I felt like that was very purposeful. Um, Dewey's fling. I thought that was another key point. That's another key point in the movie because since the Stab franchise in the movie Scream is starting to grow. They had Jennifer Jolie who was playing Gail Weathers, and I felt like that was kind of like it's kind of like a undermine because it's like that's the fling, that's the person that you're dealing with, you're interacting with, you're protecting and whatnot when there's the real Gail Weathers, here, but here nor there. Um, the fact that the Stab movie franchise has grown. I mean, you have after the Woodsboro incident, you had Stab 1 that came out. No. Was Stab already out around after the first movie? No, 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 no. So Stab came out during the second movie, during the last movie. Stab came out then because one of the scenes in Scream 2, um, Sydney, they made like a remake of like the whole neighborhood. They had Dewey's car, the deputy car there, and everything. So they were just pretty much doing like a remake of it. And that was like also like a dope scene there. But they brought that up. So yeah, the Stab franchise was continuing to grow. Um, Sydney's living situation, I thought that was very much significant because you have a woman that has now had two attacks on her life. I mean, honestly, I really would like to know, like, if she was a real person, like, if Sydney Prescott was a real person, I would really want to talk to her because it's like, you've had two attempts so far, with this being the third, but you've had two attempts so far of somebody trying to kill you. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, so honestly, having that be a moment where you see that she's taking precautions. She has a dog. That's an extra alarm clock right there. She has a dog. She's out in like the fucking boondocks. She has like a gated like well, it's not like high as hell, but she has a gate in front of her house. Um and she has to put in like some code as well. Also, where she works at, the fact that she is not working in the city, like she's working from home, like she's working on the phone. So it's like not only is she protecting her space of where she lives at, she's also protecting her identity as well. I think she's going by like a different name. I forget what it was. I think she's going by like a different name, but then outside of her trying to go by a different name through the phone and whatnot, through over the phone, she's not visible. I mean, it'd be different. It would be a lot easier for a killer or somebody to find her if she was working in the city, or if she was just in general, publicly working. But the fact that she's working over the phone, that's just another testament to show that how careful she's being. Um, Sydney's connection with her mother. I thought this is the first movie. No, it's not. This is the first. Well, this is the first movie. This isn't the first time. This won't be the last time, but this is the first time in the Scream franchise that we get to see like some supernatural shit. My At a time where Sydney's having like a nightmare, she has like a back-to-back nightmare where one I think she's like getting killed, and then I think in the second one she's seeing her mother. She's seeing her dead mother outside her window, and the mom's like, "Come here, Sydney, Sydney," like pretty much old school '90s, like damn near cartoon representation of what a ghost would say and do and shit like that, like old school shit. But just the connection with her mother, the fact of throughout this movie, once again, spoiler heads up, because this review is for people who've already seen the movie. But I mean, if you haven't seen the movie and you're just watching, spoiler alert. But I mean, when you really think about throughout this movie, you wonder what was her connection with her mother when they were alive. Because the fact that her mother did not tell her about her going to Hollywood and trying to be an actress, the fact that her mother was, creeping behind her father's back, it's like, okay, bet if Maureen Prescott at this point is a sketchy, sneaky ass woman. From this being the third movie, finding out more and more, this is a sketchy ass woman. So it would definitely play a part to be like, what is the relationship between them two, even when Maureen Prescott was alive. Um, Rena Reynolds, I thought that was a very significant part, because then they start to get into the details. What the killer is doing is he's leaving pictures of Maureen Prescott, aka Sydney's mom. He's leaving pictures after every kill. After every kill he does, he leaves a picture. He leaves a picture at the scene of the crime, and it's a picture of his mom, of Sydney's mom when she was younger. Like nobody had these pictures. Nobody had these pictures. So it's just the fact that, and the fact that she was going by a different name. She wasn't going by Maureen Prescott or Maureen, whatever her previous name was, her maiden name was. She's going by Rena Reynolds. I would assume maybe her last name, Maureen Reynolds. I'm not sure what her original last name was, but definitely that being a scene. Um, Honestly, Sydney just showing up in general, that was definitely another key point. Is because for the most part, you have that she's trying to stay hidden between her living situation and her job. She's obviously staying hidden, but somehow the killer gets in contact with her. That I had absolutely no idea how he was able to find her, but he's able to find her at her home. Well, he's able to call her at her home and whatnot. Pretty much, when she shows up, because Detective Mark Kincaid wanted to meet her, but Dewey was being protective. He wasn't telling anybody where she was. Um, so in a time like that, and all of a sudden Sydney pops up, she pretty much explains to Dewey, is like, if he can find my phone number, he can find where I'm at. Like he already knows where I'm at. Like, so pretty much it's like, all right, I'm not going into hiding. I'm not going into hiding. I'm already here. Um Another part that I like is the fact that Martha Meeks is Randy Meeks' sister. Another part that I like is that they go through the process of watching a video that Randy Meeks makes that pretty much kind of like made it seem like he didn't even think that he was gonna make it in part two, but essentially he didn't make it in part two. But you know, he made a video and pretty much was explaining that because he worked at a movie store, so he was like big on like the movies, the idea how movies work and stuff like that. So he was pretty much saying, he's like, if this is the third killer, this is the third installation, blah blah blah. They're going all the way back to the beginning. Like, he pretty much, Randy has been right in every movie that he's been in. Like, I mean, he's been right, but for the most part, that's one of the things that he's trying to explain to them is that, you know, it's all going back to the beginning, that pretty much anybody can die. All these different circumstances that is just like, like but you know, also it gives away spoilers in itself, details in itself, because it's part of the movie. So he's definitely giving away some spoilers that, you know, you got to be aware of some of that stuff later on. But then we skip to a scene where Angelina Tyler, who is playing Sydney in the movie. She's playing Sydney in the movie. She's in the bathroom. And if you remember, there was a scene, I think, in the beginning, in either part one or part two, where Sydney was in the bathroom. I'm trying to remember. There was a scene where, I don't remember if it was Scream 1 or Scream 2. If you see this, write down in the comments whether it was Scream 1 or Scream 2. But I don't remember. It was a scene where Sydney was in the bathroom. She was in the bathroom, and it was some girls that were in there, and they were kind of like just talking stuff pretty much about Sydney. But then Sydney had like went to the bathroom when she heard them come in. They're talking stuff about Sydney. She's hiding in the bathroom stall. Once they leave, she comes out and, you know, finishes up her little girly girl stuff. In that process and whatnot, she hears somebody literally whispering Sydney, but they're saying it way lower than that. They're like, Sydney. Like, they're being really ominous and whatnot. But so then Sydney, she looks under the stalls. She looks under the stalls looking for the feet, and she doesn't see anybody. But then she hears it, you know, she kind of like ignores it, but then she looks down again, and she doesn't see any, she sees like 2 feet, like she sees some boots come down. So then she's already kind of like, you know, kind of not hyperventilating, but she's already kind of like aware of what's going on. She decides that she's going to go ahead and make a run for it, and then that's when the killer comes out. But that's when in Scream, I believe Scream 1, but in this scene, she's in the bathroom. She hears something in the background, and that makes her turn around. She looks up under the stalls. She sees somebody's shoes. She sees somebody's feet. So she's thinking, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's damn near getting ready, because at this point, this would be the 3rd time somebody's making an attempt on her life. Sydney's not fucking playing no more. Like, she's not fucking playing no more. Like, Sydney, like, at this point, first movie, this, you know, oh my God. Second movie, what the fuck is happening again? Third movie, what the fuck do you want to do, motherfucker? Like, you know what I mean? That's where Sydney's at with it right now. So literally seeing that wonderful moment. But she opens the door, and come to find out it's Angelina Tyler with not only a cell phone, but a Ghostface killer mask. And for the audience, that definitely is a moment where you're like, because her excuse is that, you know, she didn't know how the movie was going to go, didn't know if this was going to be a continuation in her career or anything. So especially with the deaths popping up, so she wanted something as like a souvenir. So she took the Ghostface killer mask. Still, that was still just trippy, because I ain't gonna lie, after I saw that, I was like, her. If it's not just her, and there's 2 of them, she's one of them. But throughout the movie, you barely see Roman Bridger. That's what I love that they did. The director, I love that they did that. There's only, I'd say maybe about like 2 or 3 scenes, maybe 4, that have Roman Bridger in the movie. And spoiler alert, he's the Ghostface killer. He's the killer, but the fact of it is, in the previous movies, you at least get to see the person or one of the people who is the killer. You get to see them. I felt like you got to see them a lot more. But in this movie, I think you only see Roman Bridger like, the beginning, the introduction. There's one scene that he has with like the director of the Stab franchise movies. And then I think that's like it. Matter of fact, if you think about it, Mickey Altieri or something like that, he was barely seen in Scream 2. But we did see a lot more of Nancy Loomis. But moving forward. Come to find out, Roman Bridger is Sidney's half brother. When Rena Reynolds went out there to Hollywood, she was getting down. She was getting around and whatnot. She was getting around. And she ended up being pregnant with Roman. And I would assume that she gave her child up for abortion, or gave the child, just in general, just gave the child up to somebody or something. Because it's like, how you just gonna, like, how's the child just gonna, be around? But food for thought. The fact that Roman actually knew of Billy Loomis, I think that was a key connection. Because, once again, just going back to what Randy Meeks was saying, how everything kind of turns around. How everything kind of, like, it all goes back to the beginning. So the fact that Roman knew of Billy Loomis and actually told Billy Loomis how to get away with the murder. Or, like, to pin it on somebody else and have a fall guy. He pretty much orchestrated the whole thing. He was already keen to it. Sidney is there with Roman in his final moments. I think that was kind of dope because, for the most part, you have Roman Bridger, who is, he's alone. The fact that he literally went to that's the next key point. But the fact that he literally went to go see Maureen Prescott after she had already been married, years later, he goes and meets her. He actually gets to see Rena Reynolds. He goes and meets her, but she's like, you're Rena Reynolds' child. I'm Maureen Prescott. Pretty much just denouncing him, like, pretty much saying, like, you're not my son. Like, I don't care who I was, you're nothing to me. That would be a moment to have you be like, you know what? I'm about to get you. I felt that sneeze coming up, so I was trying to get something out real quick before I said anything. But moving forward, just the fact that, I would assume that that's what a lot of people, especially if you didn't have your father growing up, if you didn't have your mother growing up, if you're adopted, if you're adopted by some family, like with you being an orphan, wondering who your mother or who your father was, were they good people? Were they nice people? Were they this? Were they that? I would always assume that that's always like an ongoing thing in the back of the head. So the fact that he actually got to meet his mom, got to meet this woman, but the fact that she wanted nothing to do with him. And the fact that he said that he saw Sidney, but she was a kid then. So the fact that you got to see, not only did you get to see your mom, you got to see the physical proof that your mom moved on. I don't want to think of it like that, but it's just a fact. And then just bringing this to a conclusion, one final part that I loved, because this is the thing, I didn't see a Scream 4 coming. I didn't think that they would have made another movie, especially after this. The way that they ended that, perfect. Fucking perfect. That's the perfect way to end the movie. The fact that Sidney returning from her walk when I think Dewey proposes to Gail in Sidney's house. Sidney at this time is out for a walk, but she's walking towards the house. Walks back in the house with said dog. Mind you, this whole movie, where the fuck was the dog at? Like where the fuck was the dog at? Maybe she put the dog in some kind of like some kennel or kept him at the house or something, because maybe that would have been a way, a way that the killer could have tried to get to her is by killing the dog or something, stuff like that. I don't know. But the fact that when she walks back in the house, she closes the door, but when when Gale, Sydney, and Dewey, they walk around the corner, but before Sydney can turn the corner all the way completely, the wind opens the door. And usually that's a moment where you're like, you're kind of watching like something gonna happen, but at this point, it's full circle. At this point, the movie is complete. At this point, you think the franchise is complete, but it's not. And so, that's the way that it ends. But, it has a moment where she's looking at the door. She looks at the door, stops, but then she smiles and continues to walk away. I still would have went to go close the door, but, here nor there. But all in all, I give that movie a 10 out of 10. That movie was well put together. It was well put together. I love the ending. I love the scenes in between. I love how it all fit together. And then with this being the only, up to this point, this is the only movie where there's only been one Ghostface killer. It was all orchestrated by one man, Roman Bridger, Sydney's half brother. Honestly, I think that's the cherry on top. I really think that's the cherry on top. But all in all, I give this movie a 10 out of 10. I'm going to try to stay on top of this shit. So I might even go ahead and do Scream 4, like right now. Or just record it and then upload it the next day and stuff. Because I do want to stay on this and whatnot. But love, peace, of chicken grease. Y'all stay smooth. Like, comment, follow. And I'll see you back here for more.